This is a typical doe down
And
the
we're
water.
back.
And now you got to get these things out of these big ponds, right? You got to retrieve them. So we use a lot of different methods. These are large, big seine nets that are 6 foot tall. You have to pump your ponds down a couple of feet because we maintain an 8 foot level. So these, it's a tough button for me. Let's see, let me go back. Sorry about that. Already up. You see the large seines here. We have different sizes, different size meshes, depending on what babies you want. If you want littler babies, you got to use a 1/8 inch mesh. If you want more like a 2 or 3 inch fish, we use a 1/4 to a 3/16 inch mesh. Or you can use minnow traps to get them out as well. This is just minnow general trapping for 1 to 2 inch fish where you don't want to get the seines out. Now you do that when you have 5 or 10,000 fish in a pool. When you start getting lesser numbers, it's more difficult to trap, so you have to get out the seines. And it's basically just throwing feed into the traps, coming back a half hour later, and you can pretty much load up. Another method we use is cast netting. If you don't want to get in a seine, you don't want to pump the pond down. This pond happens to be pretty big. It's about 1/3 of an acre, and we do doe in it. The wolf cichlid. We use cast nets. And what we'll do is throw some feed out in the pool, and just throw the net out, and you can get yourself half a dozen animals, adults. If you need more than that, of course, then you're forced to get your seines out. Because once you throw that cast net, if you don't get them on the first time, they're into the edges of the max.
Hit that subscribe button.
These are just some motoguensis at the top, doe at the bottom. Winterization, we try to maintain a very minimum temperature of 72. The adults can take it cooler, but the babies don't fare so well after about a week of that under 72. And same thing, in the winter, we'll take the cast nets out, we'll get the breeders out, or if necessary, we pump down and we get the seines. Okay, now this is raceway production for riverine fish. As I told you, river fish won't breed into our ponds. Their egg casings won't hatch. Because of the substrate and the high mineral content of our ponds. Maintenance is completely different, food is completely different. And here's where we generally set up just 6 breeders. We'll put in 2 males, 3 females to where we can maintain them quite easily. And it's all about growing zooplankton onto the vat walls. That's what you call off-womps in Malawi. Or when you walk in a river, when you slip on a rock, it's just that algae. But they graze that all day long. As I said, even on predatory piscivore fish, it's still 60% of the content of their guts and their intestines.
Remember that, people.
Typical blocks. We want that stuff on there. We want to maintain it. And if the water gets a little clear, then we'll throw a little bit of cottonseed like we did in the ponds to keep sure that the phytoplankton or the diatomaceous algae is growing on our blocks, which we call condominiums, or our big tubes. This is a fish called Argentea. Just some overhead shots of them down in the vats. And feeding, as I said, we go to special formulated foods. Same as with the ponds. We use flake, though, when we're working with vats, or we use a powder when we're working with ponds. Takes a lot of food.
This is awesome.
Now, also on really hard to breed fish and on really riverine fish, when I mean whitewater Coriantera fish, there is no animal life in that. The water's flowing so fast, little fish can't swim by. There's no place to anchor. There are some little copepods and crustaceans that go down into the gravel, but it's basically feeding off of the algae. Well, during the winter months, we don't get quite as much algae, so you can kind of see the stuff that I use. A lot of spinach. We vary from week to week. Carrots, zucchini, oatmeal, cream of wheat. You see some medicines up there at the top that we use if there's problems. And then we dehydrate it and put it into big wafers. Brine shrimp, critical for raising little tiny animals that are raised in raceway aquariums, which are concrete, or into glass aquariums. We go through about, I would say, around a can or 16 ounces every day of brine shrimp.
The skip coming to you live. I'll be back shortly.
It's a touchy product. You can buy 1 gram